Hi, I'm Jesse with One Heart Fire. On this video, I'm going to talk to you about a couple gardening techniques I found to be very helpful. One of those is living mulch. Um, Living mulch, like any mulch, serves a function of holding moisture in the soil. It keeps the moisture in the soil from evaporating out. But on top of that, living mulch has other benefits. One of those is condensation. In the morning, when the air starts to heat up, the plants stay cool, the soil stays cool, and that causes condensation. And so the bed will actually water itself in a way. Um, an example of that, these are some starts that I bought probably 4 days ago, and I just set them here in the garden inside this living mulch. And I haven't watered the garden, hasn't rained in about 2 weeks, and these are still healthy. The soil inside these little starts is still moist, and that's because of the condensation that happened inside the system here. Um, a lot of people would say this garden is full of weeds. I haven't done any maintenance to this in a long time, and this stuff just kind of grew up. This is mostly chicory, or chickweed, sorry, not chicory. Um, and there's a little bit of wood sorrel, kind of clover type thing in here. And most people call these weeds and try to rip them out, but it's beneficial to have such a large root system right here in the soil because the roots move nutrients around. They provide pathways for air and water to go down through. And plants really evolved to live with each other, live right next to each other. You go into a forest, all the plants are going right next to each other. And so we're going to kind of work with the natural pattern of this chickweed growing in this bed. I could try to pull all this chickweed out and get rid of it, call it a weed, but in reality, I'm never going to win that fight. Nature will always win. If she wants something to grow here, nature obviously wants chickweed to grow here. It will grow there no matter what. And so we're going to work with that. This is kind of a technique I stumbled upon when I was just getting into gardening. I had a bed that wasn't in use. It was covered in chickweed. And we took out another bed and threw the dirt on top of that chickweed, thinking it would just choke it out. But what happened was after we had, put the new dirt in there, planted some starts, about a week later, the chickweed grew up through that soil, and it actually made a really nice living mulch, and that garden bed did really well. And so we're going to try to simulate that again here. So you see here we've got some beets growing in here, and they're doing really well. They have all this chickweed growing around them, but they're actually remaining really healthy. There's a little bit of bug damage, but not a whole lot. Everything seems to be doing really well. And so basically, if you have a living mulch, I'm just going to show you how to just to maintain it a little bit first. You just want to come through and just kind of with a sharp knife or scissors, just take out a little bit of the cover crop, just to keep it from competing for light too much with whatever your crop is, the beets here in particular. And you don't want to rip out the roots, because what you're doing then is disturbing the soil structure. Roots are a really important part of healthy soil structure. If we just rip them out, we're disturbing that. And so you just come through and kind of slice down cover crop around your plants. Give them a little bit more space to grow, and this will grow back. But just every couple of weeks or so, even that, just come through and kind of knock back the living mulch. So that's how we maintain the living mulch for our established plants. But if I want to install some new plants, some starts, if I just put these, even if I cut it back and just put these right in the ground, the chickweed is so established that it'll just come right back up and outcompete these starts for light. And so what we have to do is kind of suppress the chickweed for a little while to give these plants a chance to establish their roots and get some height so they can grow above the chickweed like this chart is doing right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut back the chickweed, much like I did for the beets, and then we're going to cover it with new soil, or soil from anywhere really. Compost will work as well. This is a good time to give your garden a nice little boost of nutrients. And then we're going to plant our starts into that new soil. And so what will happen is the plants will have time to establish themselves, and the big root system of this living mulch will still be underneath that soil. A lot of the mulch that we cover will actually rot, and those nutrients will go back into the soil, and then the rest of it will poke back up through, and it'll grow back, but not until these new starts have had a chance to get established. That's what we do now. So just like before, I don't want to rip these out. I just want to cut them. Keep the root systems intact. And I'm going to do what we call in permaculture chop and drop. You don't ever want to take anything out of your garden, any of the organic matter. Organic matter is the most important ingredient in healthy soil. Lots of organic matter means very healthy soil. And so you just want to chop it and put it right back down where you chopped it from. So there you have it. I just chopped down the living mulch, left it where it was. Important thing to note is that what happens when you slice off the top of the plant, it's that old adage, as above, so below. And so it works with any plant. Say I just chopped off a few leaves of this chard plant here, an equivalent amount of roots are going to die underneath the ground. And so as I chop down this living mulch, this chickweed, underground, that big root mass, a lot of that is going to die off. And as that dies off, it releases carbon back into the soil. It releases all those nutrients that are bound up in the roots back into the soil. And so it's actually kind of giving a nutrient flush to the soil, making a lot of nutrients available for the new plants to feed off of. Also, what you might have noticed is I was very careful not to step on the bed or even put my hand down and lean on the bed, because you do not want to compact your soil. That will ruin your soil structure, and soil structure is very important for holding on to water, allowing the microbial life to grow, and it's really that microbial life is what feeds your plants. It's not the nutrients directly, nitrogen, potassium. It's the microbial life eating those nutrients and making them available to the plants. And so it's important to keep that soil structure healthy, not compacted. That will lead to healthier plants. Okay, so something strange happened with my camera, so you don't get to see what I did planting all these. So basically, what I did was after you cut down all your living mulch, lay it down, I just covered it with some planting mix here to suppress the living mulch, the chickweed, and to cover up what you did cut down so that it rots faster. You don't have to use planting mix. You can use any soil. You could even use a heavy mulch like straw. But what's going to happen is, like I said, all of this chickweed or living mulch that you cut down is going to rot underneath this new soil, providing nutrients to these new plants and allowing them to grow a little bit before the chickweed grows back through this new soil. So I got that laid down, and then I just planted my starts straight into that mixture. It's kind of a mixture of dirt and chopped up weeds. And if you noticed, I planted pretty close together, and I kind of mixed in these different types. I've got some romaine, some butter lettuce, and some kale. And in seed packets and a lot of gardening information, it says plant 4 inches apart in 18-inch rows. Really what that row is about is farming, is tractors, and I don't know anybody who drives tractors through their garden. And so you can put plants a lot closer than it says on the seed packet or on whatever you're reading. And a lot of times the plants actually like it. They work better that way because the leaves will grow together and kind of create their own living mulch above whatever you have underneath them. And it kind of creates more of that that shade on the soil to keep everything from evaporating also creates more of that condensation effect. And so you just, as I plant these in, I just dig a little hole with my knife or whatever tool you're using, just kind of scrape up a little hole. And when you take these plants out of your start package, see, this is really root bound. These are a little bit too big to be in these little pots, but basically you just want to break this up a little bit. Even break the roots a little bit, and that'll let the roots spread out more, and you'll have healthier plants. Now I gotta figure out where to put this guy. I just stuff him right in the middle here, and even though these are pretty close together, they'll kind of intermingle, and they'll do just fine, even better than if you just had it surrounded by nothing else. What I'm really going for here is not such high yield as low maintenance. Working with nature, working with the natural patterns of what's happening in the garden, so that things will grow in the way they're meant to grow without me having to do anything, without me having to spray anything, come out and weed. It's all about working with what is, not how you want your garden to be, not how you want it to look, but work with what it is. If you have a lot of chickweed growing in your garden, you have a lot of a certain plant growing in your garden, work with that. Because anytime you try to work against what nature is doing, you're going to lose. Nature will win that battle every time. But when you start to work with nature, beautiful things happen, and it's a lot easier in the long run because, like I said, you don't have to spray, you don't have to weed, and it's a healthier environment overall. So basically that's it. I'll put up another video in a couple weeks and we'll see how this has grown up. So I hope you enjoyed it.